In 58 AC, Queen Alysanne Targaryen commanded her dragon Silverwing to fly beyond the Wall, the ancient ice barrier that protects Westeros from the horrors of the far north. Silverwing hissed, snapped at the cold wind, and refused. Alysanne tried again. Silverwing veered south. A third attempt. The dragon disobeyed, flying away from the Wall no matter what her rider commanded. This was the only time in over 20 years that Silverwing had ever disobeyed Queen Alysanne. Never before, never after, just at the Wall. What did this gentle, docile dragon sense beyond that barrier? The White Walkers? Ancient magic? Something even the maesters don't understand? We still don't know. But this moment has haunted a song of ice and fire fans for years. Especially after Daenerys' dragons crossed the Wall in Game of Thrones with no problem whatsoever. Today, we're telling the complete story of Silverwing, the Good Queen's dragon, Vermithor's mate, and one of the most tragic figures in House of the Dragon history. From her hatching in a princess's cradle to her lonely death as a wild dragon at Red Lake. From royal romance to the brutal betrayals of the Dance of the Dragons. This is a dragon who deserved better than she got. Let's dive in. In 36 AC, Princess Rhaena Targaryen placed a dragon egg in her younger sister Alysanne's cradle, a Targaryen tradition to bond dragons with future riders from birth. Sometime over the next 6 years, that egg hatched, and Silverwing emerged with shimmering silver scales and a temperament unlike any dragon before her. While other Targaryen dragons were aggressive and dangerous, Silverwing was described as relatively docile and friendly to strangers. Her flames reportedly burned with tints of blue, mixed with red and gold, and from the beginning, she showed an unusual gentleness for a creature capable of burning castles to ash. By 42 AC, young Silverwing joined Quicksilver and Vermithor to provide dragon flame for King Aenys's funeral pyre at Dragonstone. 2 years later, she helped change Westeros forever when the cruel King Maegor held young Alysanne and Jaehaerys essentially hostage on Dragonstone. They seized their chance when Dowager Queen Visenya died. Alysanne mounted Silverwing. Jaehaerys took Vermithor, and they escaped Maegor's control. By 48 AC, after Maegor's mysterious death, Alysanne flew Silverwing to King's Landing, alongside Jaehaerys on Vermithor and Rhaena on Dreamfire. This joint flight allowed Jaehaerys to claim the Iron Throne and begin what would become the longest, most prosperous reign in Targaryen history. Throughout King Jaehaerys' reign, Silverwing and Vermithor became inseparable, just like their riders. The two dragons were constantly seen coiled together, a living symbol of Jaehaerys and Alysanne's legendary love. When the king flew on royal progresses, Alysanne would soar beside him on Silverwing, the paired dragons casting shadows across the realm. In 49 AC, Silverwing carried Alysanne on one of the most romantic flights in Westerosi history. Defying the Queen Regent and the Hand, Jaehaerys and Alysanne flew from the Red Keep to Dragonstone to secretly marry. 54 years after Aegon's conquest, Silverwing created a moment of pure majesty. Flying to Old Town for the High Septon's funeral, she didn't land in the streets. She alighted atop the High Tower, the tallest structure in the city, and fanned the beacon's flames with her wings. The entire city gasped as the beacon blazed brighter than ever before, visible for miles. It was dragon spectacle at its finest. In 58 AC, Silverwing and Alysanne flew north on a royal progress. At White Harbor, tens of thousands turned out to see the Good Queen and her dragon. At Winterfell, Lord Alaric Stark initially refused to let Silverwing inside his walls, citing what Balerion had done to Harrenhal. But Alysanne's charm eventually won him over. Then came the Wall. At Castle Black, Alysanne noticed something wrong. Silverwing, always gentle and obedient, began hissing and snapping at every cold gust of wind from the north. The dragon seemed deeply disturbed by something humans couldn't perceive. Then Alysanne tried to fly beyond the Wall. First attempt, Silverwing veered south. Second attempt, the dragon refused again. Third attempt, again unsuccessful. Silverwing would not cross. This was unprecedented. Silverwing had never disobeyed her rider before, not once in over 20 years together. Alysanne wrote to Daenerys that she was deeply troubled. What did Silverwing sense? Was it the ancient magic woven into the wall by Brandon the Builder and the children of the forest? The presence of the White Walkers beyond it? Some primal dragon instinct warning her away from whatever lurked in the frozen wastes? The answer may hold clues to the deepest magic in Westeros, but we still don't know. This moment suggests that dragons, magical creatures themselves, can sense things humans cannot. And whatever Silverwing sensed beyond the wall terrified her. For 35 more years, Silverwing served Alysanne faithfully. She carried the Queen to the Eyrie in 82 AC to be with their daughter Daenerys during her pregnancy. When Alysanne quarreled with Daenerys over succession in 92 AC, furious that he passed over their granddaughter Rhaenys, Silverwing carried the heartbroken Queen to Dragonstone for a 2-year estrangement. But age caught up to both dragon and rider. In 93 AC, Alysanne mounted Silverwing for the final time. When she dismounted, she wept from the pain. Her body was too frail to ride anymore. The Queen died in 100 AC, and Silverwing lost her rider. The rider she had known for over 60 years. The dragon returned to Dragonstone, making her lair in the smoking caverns of the Dragonmont with Vermithor, the two dragons mourning their riders together. For 29 years, they coiled together in those volcanic caves, living symbols of a love story that had shaped a kingdom. When the Dance of the Dragons erupted in 129 AC, Prince Jaehaerys called for dragon seeds to claim Dragonstone's riderless dragons in the sowing of the seeds. Many men died trying, but Silverwing, true to her gentle nature, was the only dragon who didn't kill anyone. She accepted Ulf the White, a dragon seed claiming Targaryen blood. Ulf rode Silverwing into the Battle of the Gullet, where 5 dragons descended on 90 Triarchy warships. Silverwing, Vermithor, Seasmoke, Vermax, and Sheepstealer turned the sea to fire, devastating the fleet. It was a triumph for Rhaenyra's blacks, but it wouldn't last. At the First Battle of Tumbleton, everything went wrong. Ulf and Hugh Hammer, on Silverwing and Vermithor, were sent to repel Lord Hightower's forces. Instead, they betrayed Rhaenyra, switching sides to Aegon II. Silverwing, Vermithor, and Targaryen unleashed fire on Tumbleton itself. The town was sacked and burned in one of the war's most brutal acts. At the Second Battle of Tumbleton, Ulf's arrogance killed him. He drunkenly claimed he should be king, and was poisoned by Sir Hobart Hightower. When Sir Adam Velaryon attacked by night on Seasmoke, Silverwing took to the sky without a rider. She fought alone, dodging crossbow bolts and circling the battlefield for hours. At dawn, she descended to find Vermithor, Seasmoke, and Targaryen all dead. According to singers, Silverwing tried 3 times to lift Vermithor's wing, as if she could wake him. Whether true or poetic fable, the image is heartbreaking. A dragon mourning her mate on a field of corpses. After Tumbleton, desperate lords tried to claim Silverwing. Lord Unwin Peake offered 1,000 gold dragons. 3 men tried. 1 lost his arm. 1 burned to death. 1 took 1 look and fled. Silverwing was done with riders. She was one of only 4 dragons to survive the dance. During Aegon III's reign, she went wild, making her lair on a small island in Red Lake in the northwestern reach, far from Dragonstone, far from everything she'd known. When Aegon III's advisors suggested sending for Silverwing, the young king was too frail to travel, too small to mount a full-grown dragon. Silverwing lived alone at Red Lake for years. She died sometime between 136 and 153 years after Aegon's conquest. The exact year and circumstances unrecorded. The dragon who had flown beside Vermithor for decades, who landed on the high tower, who had refused to cross the wall, who had died alone and forgotten. Silverwing's story appears in the main A Song of Ice and Fire novels. Bran tells Meera and Jojen about her at Queen's Crown. Jon recounts Alysanne's visit to the wall. Sam even wonders if Silverwing left an egg there, a hopeful thought. But her true legacy is the mystery. What did she sense beyond the wall? Did she perceive the White Walkers? Ancient magic? Something else entirely? The fact that Daenerys' dragons crossed the wall easily in Game of Thrones only deepens the question. Silverwing represents the tragedy of gentle creatures forced into war. She was docile by nature, yet ridden into battle, forced to burn Tumbleton and lost her mate to the brutal dance of the dragons. Her final years, wild and alone after a lifetime of companionship, remind us that even dragons can grieve, can be broken by loss. Silverwing died alone. But her shadow, and her mystery, still haunts the history of House Targaryen. What do you think she sensed at the wall? Let me know in the comments, and subscribe for more House of the Dragon deep dives. Valar Morghulis.